welcome everybody here today. Appreciate you being out here. This is what we call the perfect John Asher Kentucky Derby weather. 75 and sunny every day at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby. So we appreciate this weather. On May 17th, 1875, a young jockey named Oliver Lewis, who was just 19 years old at the time, on a horse named Aristides, rode to victory in the very first Kentucky Derby in front of approximately 10,000 fans just behind us. In doing so, he became the first jockey ever to win America's most famous race. And yeah, let's give that applause. So in 1875, this place was called the Louisville Jockey Club. The Kentucky Derby was a mile and a half. Today it's a mile and a quarter. And out of the 15 jockeys in the field, the first race, 13 of the jockeys were African American. That foundation, over 151 years ago, launched what we know today as one of our country's most famous and beloved sporting traditions, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, the Run for the Roses. And in just 8 weeks ago, we conducted our 152nd consecutive running of the Kentucky Derby, the longest continuously held sporting event in America. In the early years of thoroughbred racing, black horsemen, jockeys, trainers, grooms, and stable hands were among the sport's most accomplished and respected participants. Their skill, courage, and horsemanship helped build the foundation of American racing and what it is today. At Churchill Downs, we believe history should be preserved honestly and completely, and that means celebrating our triumphs while also recognizing all those who contributed to what we have today with our success. In recent years, the Ed Brown Society was formed to celebrate the rich history of the equine industry and create opportunities for talented young people to gain exposure to the industry. So I just real quickly wanted to give out a shout out to Clark Williams. Clark, I saw you around here somewhere. Are you here? And Greg Harbert, I know Greg's not here. Just want to give a shout out to them for their vision, and we are proud to be partners of the Ed Brown Society, and I think we even had some Ed Brown Society graduates here with us today. But we are especially grateful to the descendants of the Lewis family for their extraordinary generosity in donating this statue. Your gift is more than a work of art. It's a gift of remembrance, and is a gift that will help educate and inspire generations for years to come who visit this historic place. Now, Oliver Lewis has earned his place in history on the track in 1875, and today we proudly honor him at Churchill Downs. So it is now my privilege to introduce you to our keynote speaker today and proud descendant of Oliver Lewis, Mr. Rodney Van Johnson.
How's everybody doing? Everybody knows I'm very shy when it comes to cameras. So I got to put this all out here. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I want to start with just thanking everybody individually because it's been so important. And I want to start off with first Churchill Downs. Claire Sims. Claire was one of the first people that I reached out to at Churchill, and she went at it and made sure everything happened for me. Mike Ziegler, I thank him. Mark Wheaton, Ashley Jacobson, Mark Anderson, who just stood up here and gave us props on that. It's amazing. I also want to thank the state of Kentucky. I'd like to thank the governor, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, Louisville Mayor Greg Greenberg, and also like to thank Stephanie Kuzadim. Stephanie is from Louisville Courier. She was just amazing to help me drive this story through. 2022, we had the 150th anniversary of Oliver Lewis and the racing industry, and I was here for the first time racing, being a part of it, and I've never experienced anything so great, and it was just a wonderful experience. So I'll get those out of the way. And I like to thank the story on how things started was my mother started doing research. She did everything before there was 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Her name is Ruth Johnson Watts. Okay, Ruth Johnson Watts was the genealogist of our family, Mom, and she went through so much work to find out who we were, and it was probably like 30 years ago. And she gave us a stack of papers, and she says, "I want you guys to know what's going on," because we were suffering some ailments, and she wanted to know what those ailments were to also be able to notice those things so we can check things out. But in that time, she gave us a list of everything. It was just a packet. This is who you are. And I took that packet, and I just tossed it. And thank you. And as things kept going and going and going, my mom is known for keeping what I call junk. And I would always say, "Throw that out, throw it out." "I'm not throwing it out. That's an antique. That's an antique." And I was like, "Get rid of it." I'm glad she didn't get rid of it, because all these things came to fruition after her research. And then from there, once I got that piece of paper and I started doing my own research, I started to find out who I was and where I came from. Everything all started to make sense. And we made a trip down here to Lexington. We're in Louisville right now. We made a trip down to Lexington, and we went to the cemetery number 2, African cemetery number 2. And we got a chance to meet Bruce Mundy and I can't remember your name, gentleman over there with the hat, but they were in charge of cleaning up the graveyard. The graveyard had been overgrown, and these men went in and cleaned up the graveyard, and come to find out all these individuals that were in the graveyard, and one was my great-great-grandfather, Oliver Lewis, along with his mother. And I was just so touched by that they took that time every Saturday to clean up and do that. And I can only applaud you guys for that. I know the hard work that you did. I just want to make sure I give recognition to that. Also, I want to thank Keeneland Library. Keeneland Library has just been amazing. Rhoda Fiera over there has just been amazing, giving us information and things that we need. Those are out of the way. So, the journey. Let's talk about the journey. The journey started for Oliver years ago. And Oliver, I can only imagine what Oliver went through. I can only imagine what the young kids went through. There were so many young children that died on those horses trying to learn how to ride. African-American kids whose tombstones are just there. And those young kids, can you imagine being on a horse at 6 or 7, 8 years old trying to ride? And you got to ride for your family, you got to feed your family, you got to survive for your family, and if you don't, things could happen. And I always say that Oliver had an opportunity to ride in a horseshoe. He always rode, but he would always have to return right back to where he started from. And this is my chance to be able to give back to that. So the journey started for Oliver, and it ended here, not ended here, but it started here, ended at 1875 when he won the first Kentucky Derby as an African American, which was amazing. He was also trained by Anson Williams. A lot of people don't know that. Anson Williamson was a trainer that was so good that he was able to travel throughout the states with a card, because he was a color, to say that he was worthy to be around and train other people's horses. So all of those people there have just, part of the journey. So getting back to the part of the journey, Oliver Lewis, the idea came in 2022 when I was here for the 150th. And from there, I was like, we got to do more. I have to do more. I was very pleased that the horses out there, Aristides or Aristides, however you want to say it, I was happy for that. But I was also just wanting to be able to give recognition to the young men and the women, the blacksmith, the clothiers, everybody who helped Oliver get on that horse. And I wanted to leave something behind for here that other people can remember. And my goal right now, and I think every goal of every black man or everybody in your generation, if you know something about your family's history, go research it. Find out. You can find out there's some amazing things that you may not know about. Find out and research. And you may too end up donating a statue from China. China. China has been amazing to me. Okay, we were supposed to deliver this in April. Was it April? Yeah, we were trying to deliver it. Yeah, we were supposed to deliver it in April, but the war happened and everything, and we got delayed. But the journey from creating him, there's only one image of him, and that we know of, and that's the image of him standing. And I love the image of him standing with a shirt and a tie on because he was an innovator. As you guys know, he was also one of the people that helped do with handicapping that is still used today. So his legacy continues to go on, and I want to make sure that stays permanent. So from China all the way to here, nights and nights and nights and nights of of pushing this. And every time I want to give up, the ancestors spoke to me. And they were like, don't give up. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And if it wasn't for those people, and I swear, everybody surrounded me. Everybody surrounded me. And I believe that their spirits, and those spirits are moving, and they move through me. And I want to move it through you all. So I want to thank my grandmother, Helen Lewis. Helen Lewis was how it all started. And Helen Lewis was the one that was my grandmother, and it was her part of her family. So this is a dedication from the Oliver Lewis Foundation. The Oliver Lewis Foundation consists of the Lewis Johnson Foundation, because Oliver was first, and we want to recognize him. I'm just the guy who just took the baton on and carried it through. So I want to thank everybody for showing up here today. I wasn't expecting this. The Derby has just really thrown out the red carpet for us. Mark Anderson has done an amazing job. Mark Ziegler has done an amazing job. Everybody here. So if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. We can always run it back and we can AI some things in there for me. But that is it for me. And yes, thank you all very much. And I told myself I wasn't going to cry, so maybe the tears will dry out here. But thank you all for showing up. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce to you now the Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman.
Well, good morning. It is so great to be with you on another beautiful day at Churchill Downs. I grew up around horses, and so anytime I get to come to this place and be with my friend Mike, I try to do that. We usually get to hand out trophies sometimes, so. But I'm honored to be here on this historic day, and I use the word historic for a reason. Many of you know that before I was Lieutenant Governor, I was a history teacher and a coach. And so we are combining two passions today: education, history, and athletics. So a lot of the other speakers have and will focus on Oliver Lewis's tremendous accomplishments, both on the track and off. He was a winner, he was a pioneer, and he was a businessman. But I want to focus on the historical side of today's event, because there was a time not too long ago that horse racing and our society at large did not celebrate, or frankly even acknowledge, the profound achievements of Black men and women within the sport. So kudos to Churchill Downs for placing this statue where thousands upon thousands of people will see it every year. Because I believe that education is the answer to racism and injustice. And I know that it's usually the matriarchs that tell our story. So good job, Mom. So may the statue honoring Oliver Lewis be the conversation starter that helps to educate and open the eyes of just one more person every day. That's the way that we change society, communities, and the world. May the memory and the goodness of Oliver Lewis live on for generations, and may God continue to bless the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you.
I wanted to make sure that I give Danielle of Octane Design Studios a huge round of applause. Daniela, there she is over there in the red. This young lady here has just taken over and just made all this possible. So moving forward, I'd like to bring the cemetery lady to the podium, Dr. Yvonne Giles.
That's my name, Cemetery Lady. Everyone calls me that. My Gmail's the same. So you never get it wrong. This has been my journey for 26 years, working in African Cemetery number 2. And Mr. Cohen, stand up. Mr. Cohen is our chair. He's been with the cemetery 31 years. Started in 1995 with a machete, cutting through all the overgrowth, trying to discover what is there. Our cemetery, as Mr. Johnson had said, was overgrown. Nobody really knew who was there, how long they'd been there, what they had done in the community. So we started cutting the weeds, cleaning it up. When I came in 2000, the guys gave me a weed eater. I handed it back to them. I ain't doing that. I sold my house. It wasn't going to cut grass anymore for any reason. So the whole question was, I'm going to stay. I made a commitment to come 1 hour every Saturday from April through October. But what was I going to do? I found my niche. My thing became the history. At the time, Dr. Ann Butler, who was director of the SESCA program at Kentucky State, was leading the effort to do the research. And she had uncovered 86 horsemen buried in our cemetery. And the one person she was determined to find was Oliver Lewis. We happen to have 3 Oliver Lewises in Lexington, all born about the same time. And she was trying to narrow it down, reading old newspapers, looking for obituaries, trying to find death certificates. And finally, she found the obituary, 1924. Oliver Lewis has died in Cincinnati. His body is being brought back to Lexington for service at Consolidated Baptist Church to be buried in the family lot at African Cemetery number 2. There is a monument with his mother, Eleanor, and his brother, William, on the face of this beautiful marble monument. So we knew that this is where Oliver had come to be with his family. We also knew that his daughter, who had died early in 1907, she was there in the cemetery as well. And the story with making the connection with the family, Dr. Butler tells it. She is no longer with us, but she tells how she discovered the family. Once she finds the obituary, finds all the descendants, then she finds out where he lived in Cincinnati. She gets in her car, drives to Cincinnati, only to discover that the house had been sold and nobody of the family was living there. But she didn't stop there. She canvassed the neighborhood to find out where the family had moved. She shows up at Miss Ruth's house with this story. Do you know Oliver Lewis? Miss Ruth invites her in because she had already started the research, thinking that Dr. Butler might be a relative. And during their conversation, Anne says, I'm just sitting there talking to this lady. She's sharing what she knows about Mr. Lewis, Oliver. just dying, just waiting for my opportunity to tell her that he had won the first Kentucky Derby. So that's how the family became connected to African Cemetery number 2. They came to make a visit. We were still kind of rugged. 2004, we hadn't done everything we needed, but it looked a whole lot better than the weeds above your head. So from then on, we stayed in contact with the family, invited them again back to Kentucky to make a visit to see how well we had done, and to continue the research. Dr. Butler died in 2013, and she had tapped me to do the research. I was a sales rep. I didn't have time to spend in the library, but she was insistent, and I listened, and I started, and we kept going. We now have record of 186 men of the racing industry. 3 of our jockeys in the cemetery won 5 of the 16 Kentucky Derbies. We had one trainer who actually trained the horse, Joe Cotton, to win the Derby in 1885. So our history has expanded. And as we know, there were support team, grooms, stablemen, trainers, and all the jockeys. We have 20 jockeys in our cemetery. Not all of them as famous as Oliver, but still, they were young men, and as Mr. Johnson said, they were young, 10 years old or younger, on the backs of horses. So that's our history. It's our proud history. The year that Oliver Lewis was promoted as the winner of the first Derby, there was too much public media that was using the wrong image. I'm not even going to say who it was. The young man they were trying to portray as Oliver was born in Louisiana in 1897. He could not ever have been on a horse in 1875. And I got tired of addressing it. I'm the old lady in the group, and I asked the cemetery board, can we print t-shirts? And they said yes. We purchased the license from Keeneland Library because they're the only ones that have this image, and produced 200 t-shirts. We went through them in less than a month. We had Visit Lex order them for their shop. They ordered them for their whole staff. I had every library I had worked with, Keeneland, the public library, anybody had a t-shirt. Everybody, all of us who have t-shirts on, stand up. Miss Gladys. Miss Gladys is one of the family members. Miss Fayon is our secretary. And of course, Mr. Cohen is our chair. We decorated Lexington. I wore my t-shirt every single day of that year from May on. And I told someone that, and he stepped back, and I said, no, I got more than one. It's clean. Because I did. I wore it everywhere. Nobody was ever going to forget what Oliver Lewis looked like. And now we have this monument, his actual image. So nobody will ever mistake who Oliver Lewis is, what he did, and the significance of his first ride in this iconic, at the time it wasn't, but now it's an iconic race. It's one of the 3 American classics. We also know Oliver wasn't a one-horse man. What I did, when the family was coming, I went out to Keeneland and patiently searched through their records to discover that 5-month-old Oliver Lewis was in 9 other races during the season from May to July. He won 8, or placed first and second in 8, and only unplaced in 1. He was on all 4 of the horses that H.P. McGrath was running. His favorite was Aristides, and Aristides won the majority of the races that year, $15,000 in race money, 1875. So he was the best horse of the stable. But Oliver was the jockey, and he should have won more races. But H.P. McGrath was a different kind of person. They gambled. He always had more than one horse in the race, and he chose which horse to win. In the Belmont, Aristides was straining at the reins to get to the front, but Oliver was a good jockey, followed the rules, and helped him to keep him from charging to the front to win, because McGrath wanted Chesapeake to win, and he did. But we know that Oliver was good enough to have won every race that he ever was in. And we do know he stayed with the farm even after this race in 1880 census. He's showing as still on the farm at 22 years old, breaking horses. 1881, McGrath dies and the farm is dispersed. But our Oliver stayed with anybody that had horses. We can document all of this. When we had our anniversary, 150th year anniversary, our mayor, Linda Gordon, issued a proclamation for Oliver Lewis, May 17th, 2024. We had the presentation at the Lyric Theater, great coverage and good participation. But we wanted the city to know it was actually the second and third weekend in May that the first derbies will run. Not the first, the second and third weekends. That's another thing you find when you're doing research. So our city has honored him, has promoted his career, still supports and promotes. And we are proud of that. Mayor Gordon could not be here today, but she does send her greetings to you and hopes that with this monument here, Mr. Lewis will never ever be forgotten, and that he is a Kentuckian. He grew up in Woodford County. Miss Ruth and I have shared our notes, and we both know that he was born in Woodford County, riding before he got to Lexington. He wasn't put on the horse when he was 18. He's been riding before, always. So, thank you for your time. Thank you. And I must applaud this family, this African American family, who has pooled their resources to do this, to set us in history. We are capable. We can, but we have to cooperate. And when a member has a vision that is here, you support that member. And this family has done it. I am proud of them. I'm proud to have known them, to have become acquainted with them. And yes, Rodney, it's okay to cry. Thank you.
That was great. Also want to give recognition to Jennifer Jones and Robert Jones of the Lexington African American Sports Hall of Fame. They were one of the first to recognize us. If they're here, can they just stand up for a second? Oh, there they are. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to bring up now we're bringing to the stage our mayor, Louisville Mayor Greg Greenberg. Oh, I'm sorry. The deputy mayor. Deputy Mayor, Ms. Kemper.
I am here on behalf of our Mayor Greenberg. My name is Shan Kemper. I'm Deputy Mayor for the city, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but I just have to say how wonderfully affirming it is to be here and to hear this story. It has absolutely made my day. I am here on behalf of the mayor and the city of Louisville to present, Rodney, could you come up here for me for a second? A proclamation in honor of Oliver Lewis on behalf of the city. Greetings to all whom these present shall come to know that June 24th, 2026 is hereby proclaimed in Louisville, Kentucky to be Oliver Lewis Day, and I urge all residents to observe this special recognition.
This is for you. I guess I'm the MC too. Okay, now we have a poetry reading by Hannah Drake.
Before the roses, before the crowds, before the cameras searched for a winner, there was a young black man, just 19, leaning forward in the saddle, eyes focused on chasing a finish line. May 17, 1875, that day, he could not know that in 2 minutes and 37.75 seconds, he wouldn't just cross the finish line, but he would ride into history. It has taken over 150 years for many to learn his name. However, there is no telling the history of Churchill Downs without telling the story of Oliver Lewis. Know that Oliver Lewis didn't ride for monuments or statues or for a place in a textbook. Oliver rode because that was the task before him. That was his passion, and the road was never easy. Being first is not without its challenges. He lived in a world of obstacles where talent alone was no guarantee of recognition, where achievement would be celebrated while the people behind it were forgotten. Oliver lived at a time when Black excellence was a threat. See, Oliver wasn't just competing in a race. Oliver Lewis picked up an entire race and placed us in the saddle with him and showed the world our brilliance. That moment was about more than a race. It was about possibility. It was about perseverance. It was about saying, I belong here and I will not be denied. It was about what can happen when talent, determination, and opportunity meet, and when the race was won. History remembered the first Kentucky Derby, but it forgot the man. History remembered Aristides, the horse who crossed the finish line first, but it forgot the man. Too few remembered Oliver Lewis, the young Black jockey who guided the horse to triumph. Many celebrated the victory, but failed to celebrate the man. Too few spoke the names of Black horsemen, groomers, trainers, and stablemen whose knowledge and skills helped build the sport itself. Even Aristides was trained by Ansel Williamson, a man born into enslavement whose mastery of horses helped shape a champion. The Derby remembered the horse. The world remembered the race, but too often it failed to honor the man, and that man was Oliver Lewis. Yet truth has a way of returning. It rises from old newspapers, obituaries, weathered photographs, stories passed down, and voices unwilling to let memory disappear. Truth has a way of recalling names that should have been remembered and telling stories that should have been preserved. Truth has a way of restoring what was lost. So today, we remember the man. Not a footnote, not as an afterthought, but as a champion. Oliver Lewis was a son, a husband, a father, a horseman, a proud Black Kentuckian. a man who helped build a legacy that would circle the world. He was Oliver Lewis. He didn't just open a door. He opened a lane that allowed others to gallop right through it. This is more than about bronze and stones. This is an act of remembrance, a declaration that history belongs to all who made it. And so today we do more than honor a winner. We restore a name. We restore a legacy that has endured. We restore Oliver Lewis to his rightful place. May generations know that Oliver was here, that he rode here, and that he won here, and that finally he is restored and remembered as one of the greatest in the greatest 2 minutes in sport. Thank you.
Okay, that was great. Okay, so I guess now is the unveiling. Ms. Danielle, is there anything that you like for me to do? Stand?
No. Sorry. Didn't have anything special.
Okay.
Whomever you like to pull it.
Okay, I would like my mother to come up and help pull, and my Aunt Gladys, my Uncle Dave, who's head of logistics. Uncle Dave made sure that Oliver made it to Cincinnati and then back to Louisville and then here. So we're going to pull it down.
I'll make sure I can get it right conversation. As long as my husband's like, things are kind of like being 6'3".
Yeah, exactly. Just for us. That's my mom and brother. Yes, he's doing all that stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say that I took the creative liberty to put um, the horse representation there. He was actually standing next to a something else that they put there, and I figured I would want to put something that was a little bit more representative of who he was. Um, as you can see, Oliver was an inventor. He was more than just a jockey. He was an inventor and just an amazing man.
And just one final note on logistics. This is a temporary spot for Oliver. As you can see, the construction down here, the Victory Run, we'll have a plaza behind it. It's going to be a beautiful garden area behind the new 4-story building that's being constructed. So if you come back in 2 years from now, Oliver will be moved down into the garden areas along with Pat Day, John Asher, and Matt Wynn statues. We'll all be in our garden down further. So 2 years here, temporary location, permanent location down further in a beautiful garden area. Thank you.
I know, finally I get the mic. Hi, I'm Danielle Meadows Sennett. I'm with Octane Design Studios and proud coordinator of this amazing event. Thank you all for being here in coordination with Churchill Downs. Thank you. First off, I just want to say again, thank you. Thank you for believing in the glory of the story, as Robbie and I have often joked about. The glory of the story about an intuitive, gifted young man erased from history, now a famed icon coming home for his final rest at the first turn of the track where it all began. Today, your presence sparks the launch of the Oliver Lewis Foundation, which keeps alive the unique story and essence of Oliver's true spirit and accomplishments as a jockey, businessman, and innovator. As we gather at this first turn today, it is our turn to celebrate the firm, permanent restoration of Oliver's legacy. So we invite you to help us grow, help us preserve, and help support the Olivers among us through the Oliver Lewis Foundation. Your program has a QR code for more information about the Oliver Lewis Foundation. Thank you for being here today. It concludes our time together. Thank you.